interesting for me today to be invited here, and the topic of innovation, which is a bit of a thing that pisses me off a little bit. Innovation. I'm all for it. I love it. But there's a lot of confusion around it. And my trajectory, my past, has been sort of interesting in that I've started out very much in product development and moved my way across, and now I'm at wieden+kennedy, where there's a very different focus. And it's brought into focus for me that there are some differences that we don't talk about, that I think both sides should be very proud of because of the way that they work together, but they are not the same thing. So I wanted to talk about creativity versus innovation, which I think is up there. Can you guys even see those monitors? Because there's video and stuff. Well, hopefully the audio will help you. So, you know, when we look at what everybody's doing and why there's such a scurry to come up with brand new things, a lot of it, I think, is because people are getting confused in the difference between innovation and creativity. And I want to go through that really quickly, is what I see as that difference and why it works out okay in the end for everybody. So Theodore Levitt, who was a very famous world economist, made it pretty clear. He said creativity is thinking up new things and innovation is doing new things. At which point I got a little bit concerned because a lot of my background was helping agencies move from thinking new things to being able to do new things. But I think that the split is a really fair one, and there are a couple of reasons why. And I think it's because the difference between creativity and innovation is the focus. So if creativity unleashes the potential of our minds to conceive of new things, then innovation introduces change into somewhat stable systems and gets you working to make those things different. So those have a very different mandate. So creativity becomes this, and creativity is very much about connecting dots that have not been connected before. So part of the art of what a creative agency does is it starts at the insight, at the brief, and you kind of look at where your idea and another idea that a client is trying to put together, where they meet. And instead of doing the logical thing, you do something that is unique or different. So with a client like P&G, those two Venn diagrams say, let's sponsor the Olympics, and how are our families and mothers about the Olympics? Well, it must be about performance. And when a creative agency takes that idea, they map it and they say, this is the Olympics, and this is P&G, who is all about mothers, and a mother raises Olympians, and therefore it is an endeavor. And you go in sort of on a different angle. Innovation is not about connecting dots. Innovation is about creating roads, paths, processes, the way that you say, this isn't good enough and we'd like to do something else. So when you start confusing those things, we run into a little bit of trouble. This is a piece that was in the paper just the other day, and I pulled it out. Adland's latest mad ideas, we-powered festival floats and magazines that charge your phone. And I was a little disappointed that that was the business that we're in now, because I think those little objects are not necessarily what we do when we look at what ideas are and what creativity is. And I think they all start to look the same, and we get varying degrees of doing it well or not. Usually it's not innovative. It's what a technology can do of its myriad, maybe 3 or 5 things, plus an idea, and then you try and make it dance to your idea. So I think that the truth is that creativity as innovation is pretty dire, actually. All our ideas right now are starting to look the same. I sat with a client yesterday, day before. They all blend together here. And they'd wanted to see some quick, innovative ideas. We just want a bunch of innovative ideas. So, you pull them all together, and you're like, here's a bunch of innovative ideas. We don't know how they relate, how they connect, but here's what it is. Oh, yeah, we thought of that one. Oh, somebody else showed us that one. Oh, yeah, we made that before. And it's because each of those little pieces of innovation came off the backs of technologies that could do 3 to 5 things. So we all just tried to mash those 3 to 5 things together and have them stand up for idea. And what you came up with is that it was harder than ever to have 5 ideas that were actually different from each other. And I think the work gets clever, it gets curious, but it's rarely emotional. It can be communicative, but when it works, we know it immediately. It's something we feel in our guts, and there are reasons for that. It might be because it's inherently human. It might be because it contains a truth. But in each instance, we're not really innovating the technology, we're stringing lights. We're basically just mapping two things together and saying, you know, here you go. When we stick to our gut, creatives can do wonderfully human things. And then again, it's not innovation, it's expression. And there are a couple of different versions that we looked at. The first one I pulled up is not because it's wieden+kennedy, because it's pretty old actually, but it's because it's a starting point. And when we looked at Chalkbot, you know, I had a feeling towards that idea when I first saw it. I liked it. It contained this sense of character. It wasn't a trick, but it was really just wheels and paint moving along the road. There were no real, you know, some electronics. None of that had human characteristics, but we kind of love that. That's why we thought up robots and Frankenstein, to remind ourselves of how improbable it is to be human and what human expression can do. So there was a kind of an early example of, well, we'll innovate, but it's because we want to express ourselves. So what was interesting to me is that when I asked hosts, what is one of your favorite new pieces at Google? What do you love that our industry has done with what you do? And this is one of the pieces. And I watched it and I absolutely loved it. It's beautiful. But you know, it didn't actually use an API. It didn't create something out of it. It didn't mash something up with it. It used it as the inspiration to create a story, to evoke creativity. And really it was about, imagine what this does when you can, through Google Maps, see the world and explore things without ever leaving your desk. But this story is a really beautiful and human one. And when you ask people what's your favorite innovative creative work, they bring up a lot of the Google work that's done. But they don't necessarily bring up the APIs and the solutions, which are really beautiful. They bring up the work that's been done to explain those solutions, that show us the promise of what those things can do. And it started to give me a bit of a hint at the difference between innovation and creativity and what we do with ideas. And I think in this instance, it's we create the possibility to imagine a changed world with those innovations inside of it. So should we be making this? Probably not. We couldn't make it as well as Google can. Should we be using it to build things? Absolutely, we should. But the thing that touches people are the explanations of why it matters to us as human beings, because there's an emotional connection to that. And I think when we get down to it, creativity versus innovation, you know, I think the reason, the way that you know the difference is that you know it's a creative idea if it can be killed by a bad execution. Because if it's an innovation idea, it will need to be made. It will will itself into existence. Once we get the taste of that, people will keep revving that. That's why you can launch early. You don't have to be completed. So if it can be killed by bad execution, it's a creative idea, not an innovation idea. Still doesn't mean it's a good idea, but it is an idea. So when you look at that, to me, banner ads aren't an idea. Reposting tweets is not an idea. Measuring stuff isn't an idea. Well, okay, measuring stuff is an idea. Visualization is an idea. Is GoPro an idea? Kind of, maybe. I mean, GoPro represents first-person narrative, and that's part of a story, and ideas come from stories. So GoPro can be a contributor to an idea, but we understand it because we put our ideas into it. So what we get from there, you know, I started figuring, well, how do we really know if we should be innovating or not? Because our industry, the advertising industry, has had to do a lot of innovation. But it's internal. It's about the way we are structured. It's about the way we work. It's about the speed that we move at. That should be no one else's problem, and we really shouldn't be rewarded for it. It's called doing business. So I wanted to say, you know, what does it mean then to have a creative idea? So I tweeted it out. Off the top of your heads, name 2 pieces of digital advertising that have connected to you emotionally. Because I was having trouble finding them, quite frankly. And things came through. A lot of things came through. People started sending stuff up. There was funny ones here, everything from 2 girls, 1 cup to the wilderness downtown. Again, another explanation of how you would use an innovation. Original Nike Lab stuff, the Coke Small World machine, which we just saw. XX video, Chalkbot, Charity Water. When you went through them, they were all things that contained ideas. It was not necessarily our industry going out and releasing software. I am not against that. But I think that when we start getting pushed to make our innovation for our businesses, the product of what we do for a living, we've let go of a very unique ability to create ideas. So when I looked at it, because innovation, as I said, does not need any more friends right now, and I think creativity always does, innovation is dependent on ideas. Ideas fall out of creative questions. Those questions and those ideas, that is our mandate. That is what we do as creatives in the advertising industry. Innovation is not our mandate. It's just a byproduct of trying to be fresh and trying to be new. So using innovation matters. What we do is we create cultural desire for innovation because we change behavior. So everyone loves the Google work because it creates an acceptance for that innovation. It tells us why. Why does it matter? We create acceptance for innovation by wrapping it in our stories because that is the connector to human beings. And ideas do not have to be new to be good. We know that. Ideas have to be beautifully executed. They get extra attention if they're good. So really, lightning talk, I just wanted to sort of go in at that. I think that we lose ourselves in talking about innovation. I think that what we do is an age-old thing, and that innovation is just another great tool that we have, and we have a very important part in the world's progression through doing new and different things.
I just want to clarify something about your speech.
Yep.
You said that we have to use the innovation, but after 4 days of seminars, we learned that we have to innovate the whole process. It's not our client's business to innovate. We have to be involved in the whole process, from the CEO, the financial, to the purchasing. Okay, so you said that we have to stick with our creativity and our competence. I may not agree. Okay.
Absolutely. There are many that don't. I think that if you look at creativity as connecting dots that haven't been connected, then we certainly can help our clients to innovate by rethinking their business, understanding what they have to do to be relevant. How can they be distinct? How can we? How do we help them do that? There are many different skill sets within an agency, but I think the core competency of a creative agency is not to be Deloitte & Touche. I do not think it's to necessarily go into the details of restructuring a client's business. It's to give them the reason why they would restructure a business and helping them believe in that, and then helping consumers believe in that. And I am not anti-innovation in any way. I think the further we can spread our influence in a client's organization, the more they are living up to the concept of an idea. That is definitely our jobs. I just think that great creatives get sort of sidetracked or maligned or perhaps put out to pasture, or new ones not brought in, because there's such a shift to, is it new? Have I seen it before? Does it use technology? Can we sell it? Can we launch it? And I don't think that's our primary reason to exist. I think we're letting go of a super important skill. And we can help our clients innovate with that perspective, but I think the creativity and the perspective is something that we shouldn't let go of. We can grow new things, but we can't abandon the old ones.
The way we look at it at Hyper Island is that creativity is this thing that human can do to find ideas, right? And the innovation is simply the execution of the idea into a stable platform. Is that how you look at it as well?
Yeah, I do. I really do. And I think that some of our innovations can be off of platforms that we do not create and use them in new ways. I honestly, I think advertising, our media and the platforms we're given need a lot of fixing. You know, not okay with putting brilliant ideas onto substandard platforms. So we can help with that. But yeah, I do. I think that innovation is, can you apply your craft to create a new behavior? And we can build that software, borrow that software, use that platform. But without the idea, it's really hard to attach it to our industry.